Here.
Member Burns.
Here.
Member Neary.
Here.
Member Baker.
Here.
Member Haas.
Here.
Member Lynn.
Here.
City Administrator Gibson.
Here.
City Attorney Stash.
Here. All right, confirm, pledge allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom, you gonna speak to council?
No, I'm just here for.
Okay.
I'm just here.
We're the only one in the audience, that's everything.
Hey, I was trying to get out of the house.
I understand. Approval of the minutes from the December 5th, Dayton City Council meeting. Any corrections or deletions? If not, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the December 2017 minutes.
Second.
Moved by Ben, second by Danny. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Next is the orders, or ordinance and orders 2018, number 1R, collection of past due payroll tax.
City of Dayton, Kentucky, municipal order number 2018-1R. A municipal order authorizing execution of a distribution agreement for amounts collected in collaboration with other local government entities for past due payroll tax.
Any motion? Any motion?
So moved.
First by Jeff.
Second.
Second by Danny. Any comments? Roll call.
Member Lynn.
Aye.
Member Volter.
Aye.
Member Burns.
Aye.
Member Neary.
Aye.
Member Baker.
Aye.
Member Haas.
Aye. So ordered. That's all I got. Michael?
First thing I've got, just wanted to let everybody know, if you haven't already seen it, the equipment is all in at the Vine Street Park. Looks good, got the grass seed down, obviously that's not growing anytime soon, but we'll finish up some of the sidewalk work and some of the additional stuff that we want to do in the spring, but as soon as it gets warm, it'll be able to be used. So I do want to thank, I know I mentioned this to you all a couple months ago, but wanted to wait until the right time. But I do want to thank South Bank and the Durr Foundation. They graciously donated $20,000 for us that we have put towards that park, which will lower the cost. I mentioned that to you a couple months ago, but now that we've got it, and I talked with Jack Maroon today, he was fine with us mentioning it. So I do want to thank South Bank and the Durr Foundation, which donates money to South Bank for some of these causes. So big thanks to them for that. We had a productive December for the Riverfront Commons design. It's been going on, seems like forever. We hit some snags in November and December, but we were able to work something out after the council meeting in December. So we should be wrapping up the design on that in the next few weeks. We anticipate the bids going out for construction on that in the next few months. So that should be wrapping up soon. We do have a planning and zoning meeting tomorrow night here at 7 o'clock. If you're interested in what's going on in Manhattan Harbor, there'll be stage 1 plan reviews for the Vista sites. This is going to be the biggest project to date if it goes through. So if you're interested in what's going on, we'll be discussing that tomorrow night at 7. And then we've got a special council meeting here next Tuesday at 6 o'clock where we'll listen to the 3 presentations from the 3 firms that have made the cut for the design of the new city building. And just as a kind of a quick update to kind of filter back to this Riverfront Commons thing, one of the things we worked on for about 6 months was, well, what's held up the design is we were working on a connection point, if you all recall, through the transitional site, which was a site that was going to be done by Brendan Sullivan and Jim Reed. So we worked with them for about 6 months on how to incorporate a connection point through their site to Manhattan Boulevard. They are actually, at least at this time, not going to be doing that development. Dave and Brendan Brendan essentially had an option on those first 7 lots, those single-family lots that are owned by David Bowden. And Dave got to the point where he was tired of extending the option, from what I understand, so he has found a different developer for that site. how that will change those first 7 lots there. I'm unsure at this time, but the firm has reached out to me, but it may go in a different direction. So that kind of triggered us having to look at Riverfront Commons, obviously, in a different way. We've talked with Bob Nolan down on his site, and we've got something worked out, so that's what's going to push this design into construction. So it's kind of just a little bit of a tidbit. Yep.
What about that 20 feet we gave them?
Nothing's been given. You all made the motion, but we haven't adjusted the lines at this time. So while there was a motion outstanding, we weren't going to do it until we deeded over the land to them, or I guess at this point, Dave deeding the land over to him. So the lines have not been changed. So even though there was a motion made, the property lines have not been extended. So that's still intact.
Should we rescind that motion until such a time that there's a need for that or not?
You can. As far as I'm concerned, if a new developer came, I wouldn't hold that valid. I would ask them to come back and either re-ask for it, or if they had a different, they may need something more or less. So at this point, I was just going to let it go. But
Did we put a developer's name on it?
no, the property lines never were changed. It was just we agreed to work with them and change them. But Brennan, at least at this point, unless he worked something out, Dave is no longer doing that project.
I think it would be better to rescind it and get back to square one since they're out of the picture altogether.
I don't want it binding
Sure,
on the
right.
properties as it stands, especially as we start the Riverwalk, because that was part of it, actually. In that case, I'll make a motion to, I don't even remember what the,
We're going to give it 20 feet. So maybe
The
any
number
motion
on
that
it, how we
extended,
do that?
any motion that would have extended the property lines.
Yeah, just a motion to revoke previous order of the city council to extend property lines at Manhattan Harbor by 20 feet.
Tom, can I ask a little question?
Yeah.
That motion has to be rescinded by the original person who made the motion, correct or not?
Well, you could just overrule it, you just have a new motion that overrules it.
Okay.
Then say you can do it, you can skin that cat
Okay,
either way.
I just want to make sure because it,
Yeah, no, you can skin that cat
Okay.
either way, it's not.
very good.
I'll put the date of the council meeting in there too, if it's okay with you.
I have no objection on it. Yeah.
I think we need to, just to clarify things moving forward.
That's fair.
You got the motion?
I got the yes, to revoke previous order to extend property line by 20 feet. Motion made.
I'll make the
But,
motion.
You okay with that motion?
Yes, sir.
Any second?
I'll second.
Jeff? Second. Any more comments on it? Okay, roll call vote.
Member Walter?
Aye.
Member Burns?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Baker?
Aye.
Member Haas?
Aye.
Member Lynn?
Aye.
So ordered.
Yeah, and just for clarification, the site plan it was actually approved a couple of years ago, that's still in place.
Right.
The site will still be developed, it's just not going to be developed by Brennan, so I just wanted to clarify that. It's something new that kind of came up, and it was kind of in line with the Riverfront Commons stuff. So that's all I have there, unless anybody has any questions for me.
What's your target date for starting construction on the Riverwalk?
We'll bid it out in hopefully February or March. So I don't think we have to do any right-of-way acquisition since we own all the property, so I would anticipate we're going to start construction in the spring and summer.
Okay. Do you have the final design that you can share with us?
I don't. No, I've just been given preliminary designs back in probably the late summer, early fall, but I should have the final plans, I would think, in the next couple of weeks. They've been 99% done with the plan, we're just waiting on this final connection piece. So as soon as I get them, I'll send them out so everyone can see them.
Will the design require our approval?
No.
We've already given that approval.
Yeah, essentially, we picked them to design the path for us, so once we get the design, that's what we're doing, the construction-ready document, so we'll just move forward with that.
So with us approving the design of it, we also approved the expenditure for it,
Well, we have the grant money, we already have the grant money and the match.
and we have a match in there too.
Yeah, we've got all that.
Okay, I'm just wondering about the time frame on this, if it comes back to us for approval.
No, the design is,
Okay, but you will share that design with all the council?
oh, sure, yeah, we'll put it up on the website and it's no secret.
All right, and what is your time frame on the two sidewalk projects, sidewalk and lighting?
Well, they're combined into one, and so right now, we're waiting to hear from GRW after the first of the year so we can have a stakeholder meeting. So we've been doing preliminary groundwork design on what's possible based on the surveys. So we'll have a meeting with GRW, a stakeholders meeting sometime this month. Then we've got to enter right-of-way phase, which is something that the Transportation Department has thrown back in over the last year or two. We can no longer utilize town for right-of-way acquisition, so we have to maneuver through that. There's quite a bit of right-of-way that needs to be acquired.
Very, very painful. Like, I mean, that could delay a year, easy, not even pushing it. Let's just be honest. Be honest with you, Councilmember Neary. I've seen other cities do that. I think Bob could speak to that a little bit more too, but it's something that will, it'll put a project into a tailspin for a long time to get all the steps that Department of Transportation's put into it. And I've been working with Bob, I've been working with other city attorneys trying to figure out a way to get around some of that nonsense. And I think we've, figured out ways to minimize the impact, but it is a significant.
Yeah, and if you recall, there's still a couple of areas. It's one project, but as you mentioned, you said the 2 sidewalk projects, because it was broken down into 2 different projects originally. But there is some area where we don't need to acquire right of way. The area where we're going to put the park on Jamestown, or on Dayton Pike, since we own that land already, so we can work something out there, hopefully. And the bump outs along 6th Avenue may not require as much right of way, if any, acquisition there. So we can still continue with certain phases of the project, hopefully without delay, but we don't know that until we sit down with the design firm, GRW, and figure out.
So the right-of-way issues is really the private property owners on Dayton Pike, not on 6th Avenue at all.
I haven't seen, I don't think there's many.
It depends on what the design calls for and how much ground needs to be acquired versus what's.
Most of the problems, yes, they're
On
on
Dayton Pike, and then I believe
upper Dayton Pike.
on Belmont also.
There's
private property along, and that's on the north side of Belmont,
Right.
which is, one of those lots is Tom's. Is there any way to break this out a little bit so we can make some progress?
Well, that's what we're trying to do. That's a discussion we're having. It'd be nice to continue with starting the sidewalk on Dayton Pike. Those first two or three homes there
How is that going to work?
actually don't, there's no right-of-way problem there, which you would think that there would be. Those actually don't. It's the houses that are farther set back whose property lines go to the center of the street.
So that new sidewalk's going to go through their front yard?
Yeah, essentially.
Right to the porch.
There's no way to go around though.
There is. There are options, and that's what we've talked with GRW about looking into. But that's what we're pushing for, is to be able to do parts of the project while we do right-of-way on other parts. Like I said, there could be a way we could start it on Dayton Pike, which is most important to me, getting the park open, and then also doing the bump outs at the same time.
Because we gotta get that park released for everything down on the river. One of the concerns I have driving up and down Dayton Pike, as I do, on the east side of Dayton Pike, pretty much from Belmont south, all those driveways that come down. That road is tilted towards the west to begin with, so you have all that wash coming over there. It ends up in Red Leaf's front yard, and everybody else is there, and it's a traffic hazard. Are we going to involve SD1 at all with stormwater drainage along that road? I mean, you've got the slippage there right before Belmont, going down to that creek, which is going to be an issue. And with the drainage problems they've had, Red Leafs have had, is SD1 going to be involved in this at all?
They're involved in it as needed, but they're not, I mean, if you're looking for a long-term solution to that, you're not going to get it from SD1. I mean, conversations that I've had with them up there are kind of similar that you find in other parts of the city, that the pipes in the lower community, that they're not built to withstand the amount of water, that's quick of water that they get at this time. The lines aren't failing, it's just the amount of water that you get. This type of project is going to solve that issue.
But I'm thinking, if you're going to do a raised curb sidewalk from Belmont to Chateau, all that water that is now going into their front yards, of course, it'd be nice because it'll be coming down the curb, but you're going to have drainage issues then on the road because of that slant line.
I can't comment on that until I see what they've got for the design.
Okay.
But they do have, I mean, they've got Human Nature, and I mean, they've got people that know stormwater management on their team, but I can't comment without seeing what they have designed. I haven't seen anything. So.
All right. And when do you expect to be able to see that design?
Like I said, we'll have a stakeholders, they'll have something preliminary to show us when we have a stakeholders meeting, but we'll have to build off of that based on.
I've been working with GRW, because I was going to handle this in my report, but talked to GRW right before we left for Christmas. They're finishing up the CAD work. They've done all the survey work, getting that into their CAD system and doing some preliminary design work. I will follow, we talked about following up after the first of the year, and that we'd have a meeting later this month to go over the preliminary designs to show what they're thinking about. So that's right where we're at. I mean, everybody had to break with the holidays. So, but talking right before the holidays, and they are right on line to come out here probably second half of the month.
So, I don't know who wants to answer this, but the flags and paint that are up there, is that from GRW? Okay, that's not a utility of some sort that's making plans to do
No, as
any
far as I
kind
know,
of
that's.
thing? Okay,
that's-
I was wondering if that was GRW or if that was some utility deal. Because we have a history of starting some things in the utility.
No, I want, as you know, pretty much every month I ask about these two projects, but especially the bump outs on 6th. The businesses we're getting in, and lighting are really critical. The Dayton Pike is dangerous. I saw a lady fall into the ditch on the east side trying to get out from traffic because there's no sidewalk there. And the stormwater issue is also for those 4 or 5 residences going from Red Leafs up to Bobby Crittenden's. They've got all that water coming off the road into their front yard, so that's why I wanted to see if that's being addressed at the same time.
I mean, I'm sure there's a way they can design something that will help it. I mean, SD1's not gonna come in and do a project with this and solve anything, but they've got stormwater management teams that they've subbed out on the GRW team, so they'll be able to have some input. But I can't comment until I actually see what this preliminary designs.
As long as we can start some construction this year. I don't want to get into November of this year and have them say it's too late to start construction.
Nobody wants it more than me, but I can't promise anything. I mean, this right-of-way thing is a beast. It's a beast. So, but we think there's ways that we can.
Well, even if we can get it done up to Belmont for right now, it would be a major plus. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Any?
That's it.
Okay, next on the agenda, city attorney.
I have nothing to report, sir.
All right.
I just want to make a comment on the city attorney. He gave us the distribution agreement. Tom, thank you very much. It cost us no money, and we made, got a few bucks in our coffers, so great job.
Thank you. Department heads, Don?
There's our own anything.
Bob?
Oh, we had another busy month. I think the Dayton Holiday Market was a huge success, especially when we had the high school band on there the 15th. I saw a lot of you there, and we all enjoyed it. Buck's Barbecue, Divine Waffles and Wex, and Dayton Vintage Outlet will all be opening this month. That's 3 of our new businesses. I put out a CCAP report, which I do quarterly. A little bit different this time. I dropped off 2 previous years. The sum total are still there, but I just wanted to focus on the money we spent this fiscal year. So far this fiscal year, we spent $15,112.46. Most of that coming through the rental abatement program, which is $9,149.96. Facade structural improvement, we had 1 project for $5,962.50. And uniform signage that was assigned for Tattoo Body of Art for $852.20. I would expect that I have some CCAP applications wrapping up. I'd hoped to wrap them up last month, but they're all working on their buildings, working on their stuff, getting all their approvals. We have 4 uniform signage applications. Bucks is all ready to get approved. He's got to sign up. Dayton Vintage Outlet, Divine Waffles and Wax, and also the beauty salon, the salon bar also is putting one up there. We have 3 rental abatement applications and 2 structural facade improvement applications. One for 640 6th Avenue, that's Bucks, and one for 515 Clay. That were the first ones we did when we extended to the corner buildings. Those are out there in the process. So, I put down TAP, we talked about GRW and everything with that. We are also working with Duke on plans for putting street lights on 3 other corners, Vine and Walnut and Elm, no, Herbert, sorry, Herbert. Move that there. Also, last month you asked about crosswalks at Urban Terrace on the east side across from 38.
No, McKinney.
McKinney, sorry, McKinney. There isn't a crosswalk there. I've got the encroachment permit approved from the state. We may look at either just putting that in, or we may put a bump out, looking at the design and see how much that will cost, but either way, we've got that approved. We're not gonna be moving on that until we can lay concrete when it gets warm again, but that's all there. It was really nice. It was shocking. Working with District 6, as they turned that around in about a week. And it was very different. It was not something I was used to. I've seen some take several months. I talked about last month that recreational trails and land water conservation fund should be opening this month. I have not, but I'm not worried. That's not uncommon during a year where they do the biennial budget. So it may have to wait until the legislation lets out, and they know how much funds that we're going to put in the budget for that. So, just fortunately, I've done this long enough that I know what I kind of had a clue what that delay was, and I think I've heard this before. They may wait until February or March before they finally release it. It's not a big deal. They'll extend the time frame for the grant, but it'll still be happening this week. I also want to add something about the industrial park. Last year when I started here, in January, we had over 50,000 square feet of vacant industrial space. 3 buildings for sale. As of right now, there are 8,500 square feet of space available in the industrial park. Only 1 building is still for sale, the other 2 have sold. And I was talking today, we may by the end of the month only have 3,500 square feet of office space available, and that's been the office space in the old Radac building. And I've got some interest in that too, so we have done, you may not have noticed it, but there's a lot of things that filled up down there, so I think it's something we need to look at, and also potentially a greater demand for that. I was talking to somebody today who was looking for a half acre. We don't really have that right now, so some thoughts there. But that's my report. Are there any questions?
Just one, Robert. You said a lot of them places are filled up down there. Do you know about how many employees came in with that?
Not yet. So most of that is through the old Pasco building. So that's pretty much just filled up. The Jollies had filled that space, so there was no space available. So that's where. And the Patriot building, those are EMS employees that went from multiple spaces to there. I also probably need to follow up with Radac because they had a bunch of space available, and they filled up all their warehouse space too. So I mean, there's demand.
Thanks, Bob. David.
All right, I gave you my reports, end of the month for December, and then I gave the whole year for 2017. So I kind of put something together real quick just to show kind of how we've progressed over the past 3 years, where we were. I just had 2 slides I just want to show you. I didn't know if they're.
Who's that climbing off that cliff face?
I don't know, that came with the.
Oh, I was
This is the,
I know you did it.
It wasn't me.
I don't know what he does in his free time.
Me either.
Well, let me actually put one.
Whenever he's like,
I should have checked it first. All right, this is just the stats for Mainly, I put up some, these are pretty much crimes against our citizens, how things have gone. Just for audience members, so Tom, you're the only one here. But 2014 is going to be in the orange, 2015 is when I came here, and then 2016 and 17 will progress. Just as you see it, auto thefts, kind of the way they were. What I have in the reports is how many calls of service we were at. So, like this year, we were called 21 times, but we only took 10 reports. So most of the time we get to a call, it's not what it is. Kind of as you see with the assault reports. 2014, we had 79 calls for service for assaults, and there was only 7 reports taken. So sometimes people decide not to do anything, they'll handle it their own way, whatever. But it went from 79 to 49 to 42 to 39 reports. So us responding to calls for an actual assault. But we only took, and that's always going to fluctuate. 2014 we took 7 reports, 15 6, 2016 we had 3, and 2017 we had 9. Sometimes it just fluctuates whether they want to report or not. Usually we tell them it's a good thing to do a report and go file charges on them at a later time. So we just went up a little bit on the assaults section here by just a couple of reports. But the main things you look at is just disturbances throughout the city. We went from 546 to 495 to 456 to 434 calls, actual calls for disturbances in the city. Bike calls are down from 116 to 55. Burglaries, we had a rash when I got here in 2015 for some odd reason. But 2015 too is the stats that the state took that made us the 49th safest city in the state. So as you see, when we go to 16 and 17, how it's gone down. So I'm hoping, we're going down from 49 to lower 40s to 30s and so on and so forth. Burglaries, these are property crimes against our citizens. Burglaries, where we at? Went from 58 down to 24. 58, 24, 24 we took this year. We had 25 last year. And then 2015 we had 73 actual reports that we took. So we had a rash in 2015. Thefts went from 306 with 177 reports to 216 or just 61 reports. So the thefts are way down. Domestic violence is usually a key thing down here. We have a lot of domestic issues. And that went down drastically, went from 375 to 269. So dropped at least 100 calls for service. And then the robbery is very minuscule. We really don't have a big problem with that. I think that's on the back page. We had 5 reports and 14, and then 2, and then 3. So that's very small on that. And then the activity, that just shows the officers' activities and what they're doing. They're not sitting around. Traffic stops, we just had a good group of guys in 2015 that we lost to bigger departments. Sometimes those are things we can't help. We lost one to Boone County, one to Newport, and one to Covington. And I want to say one of our ex-officers, Officer Brian Powers, luckily he's safe. He was involved in an assault. He was assaulted in Covington. I don't know if you saw it on the news. He got out and hit his head and went into instant seizure. Luckily there was a medic there to stick a tube down his throat, and he was able to make it through. So we had that discussion, careful what you wish for. Things are a little bit different in Covington, and that's what he wants. He wants that type of job. So. Like I said, traffic stops, we had a good group of guys in, but they're still high. We were almost at about about 1,000. We went from 613 to 1,300 in 2015, 989, and then the 969. Warrants pretty much the same as officer generated, going knocking on doors, trying to locate subjects who are wanted. Went from 142 to 209. Kind of fluctuates within 200s. We're at 221, 215, and then 209. School details, as you see, is just some of the, before I got here, you can never, the officers weren't available down here when school was getting in and school was letting out. So you see that, I put emphasis on that. That's why it changes. I'm always here in the afternoon, hanging out, obviously, with my daughters here, and then usually the officers in the morning. So big presence with the school. Number of arrests, gone down just a little bit, but you see the activities still up from what it used to be. Went from 331, we went to 522 to 516 to 459. Drug arrests have been doubled. We went from 37 drug arrests in 2014 to 129. It was a busy year this year. Obviously with the drug epidemic going around, it was pretty easy to get these guys off the streets. So, traffic citations went down a little bit. We just didn't have the manpower. We have grants out there for the guys to do, but we just didn't have. We couldn't even use the grant because we needed to fill the overtime for the shift, so guys couldn't work it. So I'm hoping that'll be going up next year. And then parking citations. As you see, the complaints that came in, 251 originally before I got here, and went up to 327 this year. So we had a lot of parking issues and parking complaints this year. And with the help of some neighbor complaints and things like that, we marked the tires. We're just patient enough just to help out the citizens. I had a guy come in today, and I said, look, there's 5,000 to 6,000 cars possibly in the city. It's hard for us to keep an eye on each one. We try to do the best we can. When a complaint comes in, we try to address it as best we can. So that's how the parking citations. So the first graph was just, like I said, against our citizens. The second one here is just officer-generated activity. There's some other things in the that I did less in the graph. But intoxicated subjects. It's kind of got the same. Traffic accidents. For a small city, you wouldn't think traffic accidents would be a big thing, but I mean, we have a lot of accidents in the city. I think we had 168 calls and we had 96 reports.
Really, you're going to have accidents.
Yeah. Well, I think Urban Terrace might be, between Urban and just right at 6 and O'Fallon seem to be the hot spots. 8th and Urban. I don't know why that intersection is just. People just don't want to stop and continue on, or both come at the same time. And
I see it every so they just run that stop sign so bad.
Yeah. And then the other things was attempt to locates have gone up, and that's with the neighborhood watch, with people getting involved, and with people suspicious person in vehicles. People are getting involved, calling when they see things happening, which was one thing we had to really work on to change. Because nobody really wanted to get involved. They didn't want to have out the police. But you see that culture changing. That's pretty much it. It's just nice to see how we've progressed as a department over the past 3 years. From 2014, things are getting better. Crimes against our citizens are going down. The officers are doing work, arresting people, and doing the other things. We have area checks and business checks. Our area checks are, which is a combination between the business checks and Gilliland and, the churches and things like that. And, they are getting out and doing other things, not just, arresting people and taking reports, protecting the infrastructure and trying to really, make this department a really good department.
I think one of the main things, Dave's a great report, Dave, but I think the citizens are becoming more involved. They feel better about calling the police department and you and the rest of the staff, so I compliment you on that.
Well, we need to make it a safer place for when we have, like Bob's trying to bring in these businesses, the businesses down in the industrial park and things like that. You know, people want to walk the avenue, walk the flood wall, and they want to feel safe that they can do so. And it's my job to make sure that this happens. And, I do hear people, and you do see people out walking around more. People are walking the streets more. They are exercising up on the flood wall. Our criminal mischief, disorderly juveniles is roughly about the same, but it's gone down a little bit. But, kids are kids on some of these calls, but I don't know, I think it's headed in the right direction, with the direction of the mayor and city administrator and you guys, passing these legislations and things like that. You can see really a big difference in the past couple of years.
What's the current status in the neighborhood watch group? That was going pretty strong for you.
Yeah, it was going pretty strong, and then it just, I want to try to get it back up when I come back, but, we're only having
2 or 3.
5, 6 people, and sometimes it just, some people said they could make it. It was just like the wrong time of year, summer. We have to really organize when we want to do this at certain points of the year. Because vacation time and things like that is kind of tough. Like right before the holidays was a key spot. Springtime, when people were out leaving their weed eaters and cars unlocked and lawnmowers out in the yard and things like that, just kind of re-talk about things. But and I'm hoping, with the training I'm going to get, that I can bring maybe some new ideas to help in with that. So it was strong, and then it kind of died off a little bit, but I don't know. We'll try to get it wrapped up again. And more interest.
Our canine officer had surgery, I believe, or?
Yeah, she's had 2 surgeries. One was for cracked tooth. She had to get oral surgery. And then another one was just preventive maintenance, I guess you're going to call it. But, they had to check some glands and things like that, and just to make sure she's healthy. As far as I know, it came back good. And she was out of commission for a couple weeks. She's back, and she's good the past week or so. She's had a couple busts there. So I think she had 4 arrests the past week.
Yeah, I saw her and Officer Marksbury New Year's Eve. I don't know how he pulled that shift, but
Yeah, it's just the way the shifts rotate.
Yeah.
So one year you'll get it, the next will be good.
do you think that's been an influence, having a drug sniffing dog?
I think I'd like to have Gil come in and do a report probably one of these times, just to see how many times. It's not actually how many times we use it, but how the citizens of Campbell County benefit. I mean, he actually goes to different schools in Campbell County, sometimes outside our jurisdiction, sometimes Ohio, are asking for a little bit of help sometimes,
Right.
which obviously they'll come over and help us too, and we need it. But it's been beneficial.
As a preventative type thing?
As
Everybody
preventative,
knows.
yeah, it does article searching, and, he's been called out many times to find articles, whether it be a drop gun or things like that, things that he can go out and look for, and other departments, calling him for, if their drug dog's out, that ours is available, trying, to get the same certification that all the other dogs in the area have. It's called NAPWADA. So they're all NAPWADA certified, and once you get that NAPWADA certification, it's like, they love to have you. So the training's been very good. He's got a lot of training, and the dog's been pretty good. I think it's very beneficial, especially when we had, a couple incidences where you just bring that dog out and you just make them bark, and it just, it deters crowds. Crowds gathers.
All right, thank you.
Dave, how many would you say, how many dogs are in Campbell County? Does every department at least have one?
No. Every department does not have one. I'd say we probably only have 3.
In the whole county?
The whole county. Newport has one, Highland Heights has one, and we have one. And then the only other ones are Covington, and I don't know, in Kenton County, I think Fort Mitchell is trying to get one.
I don't think anybody else does.
There's not in Boone County. There's not many dogs, because in Campbell County, we tried for a long time to get the dog, and they just didn't want to get it. And the closest one was Covington, and if Covington wasn't available, it was Boone County. So there's not many dogs, and I've been stuck many a times where I needed a dog when I was on a traffic stop, so I knew how important it is to have one available, you know, for not just me and the citizens of Dayton, but just Campbell County itself.
Whose dog was it that was being choked on the Bellevue?
That was Newport's.
Newport's dog?
Yeah, our dog would have been there, but Gil was training that week. Our new guy was at the academy, so the dog was actually here at the station, but they were riding tandem in a car together that week. That was just that week. It was one of those things. So it was Newport's.
Well, didn't our previous canine officer and handler go to Ludlow?
Yeah, so Ludlow, yeah, Black's still there.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay.
Thank you. Meeting, Mayor, Council, evening.
I'll just go through my report with everybody. I'll start with our training with everybody, kind of with our report, with my report. That was actually for December. Total fire inspections for 2017, fire inspectors, we started 16. We installed 20 smoke detectors. Issued 50 burn permits. Public activity events, of course, councils, at schools, Lincoln, holiday program. And then what a union does every year, you know, they get money, they fundraisers and things, and they were able this year to get 12 families, that's the building did. They were able to deliver food and toys. They covered like 60 children this Christmas, so they really got out and did a really good job. I just wanted to inform you that Fireman Joe has retired. His last day was December 20th. Joe was with us for 17 years. He greatly missed with the schools and staff and the firefighters and the community. Had some big shoes to fill there. So Joe's getting up in age and he had some health issues, so we wanted to slow down a little bit. Just going through my reports and other things, I know I got contacted about the incident on social media about the fire we had in November. I was not at that fire. Captain Richmond was there, and he was actually working at that night. He was actually friends with Mr. Harrison, so he was able to make a connection that night, figure out what's going on. You know, sometimes when we have these runs, people leave, and it's really hard to get a hold of people, get the correct information. It takes a little bit of time to get everything together. But Captain Richmond, I talked to him yesterday. There were several contacts with Mr. Harrison over the fire and back and forth. So again, like in my report, we do a lot behind the scenes. We don't want to put all our social media on what we do, what's going on, just because we don't like to be that way. Some people like to know look at what I'm doing all the time, and some people don't want to know. Don't want people to know, and that's kind of how we are. We want to work behind the scenes and help people out, and really don't want a lot for it. But Mr. Harrison stated to Captain Richmond, he didn't want anything for this. He just felt that it was something he had to do. Very heroic. He was, in a fire as a child. He did spend time with the Dayton Fire Department. I can't remember the years he was there. But what he did was very heroic. We have been working behind the scenes with the Carnegie Hero Fund Trust. Started pretty much in the 1800s anyway. And we went to Pennsylvania. It's been there since 1908 in Pittsburgh. So I kind of Googled, got some information on that. Captain Rich made a fill out all the information, send it to them. Of course, they're going to evaluate it. Their council will get back with us. Kind of been dragging our feet for the last month, trying to see if he gets this or not. Maybe do one big thing for him, either here at the fire board meeting. So we really didn't want to get out and say a whole lot, but since it's starting to be, coming out, so we'll just better tell everybody. So we're kind of waiting on that, but we definitely want to recognize him. We're planning on recognizing him in the December meeting due to conflicts of, not interest, but conflicts of other meetings and people out of town and Christmas time. We did not have our December fire board meeting, but we're going to schedule one for February. So we're going to get a hold of him and have him up there and we'll let everybody know what's going on with that. And the last thing I have is I'd just like to inform everybody that I will be retiring as fire chief in Fire Department of Dayton effective February 1st, 2018. Just due to the changes that I anticipate through state or benefits, I feel like it's something that I have to do for me and my family. I really don't want to take a chance if something happens and I'm going to get caught not getting out, then have to deal with what could happen. So it's been great working with everybody, with this council. It's been awesome. I mean, I was thinking this morning the things we were able to accomplish in the last 3 to 4 years with the ladder truck, going back to the bathroom remodel, much needed. The roof, we had a roof water coming through the bedrooms, the kitchen, apparatus floor. We had black mold up in the ceiling. So, it's a safety issue for our guys. You guys were very supportive of that. Just everything we've asked for that we've needed, we've gotten. And I appreciate that, and the firefighters really appreciate that. And it makes them want to be here, not go to other places, they want to stay here. And we've got a really good group of guys right now, and I know they enjoyed everything you were able to provide. So, thank you. And
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure working with everybody. And,
Thanks for your service.
So you won't be up here.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Rocky Chair.
14th month club, I'm getting ready to join.
Every day's Saturday.
Every day Saturday, that's right.
Who's acting chief when you were?
Captain Richmond will be acting chief.
And what is the succession protocol on that?
Process for selecting the new chief, how does that work?
It'll go through the mayor and the 2 mayors and the fire board.
Fire board makes a recommendation to the mayor and
To the 2
then
mayors.
That's how the interlocal agreement was set up. They're with mayors, and then they kind of pick and work with the board. If I'm correct, right?
Yep.
Like, I want to make another one that you didn't mention. And I call you guys unsung heroes. I happened to be down in the fire department one day, just walking by, and I happened to see Santa Claus down there. Well, what happened was, there was a family had a fire and they got burned out. They lost everything and stuff. And someone made a donation to the fire department. Instead of them keeping that money for themselves, they took that money and bought Christmas gifts and stuff for the kids and the family. So pass on to your firemen that fantastic job.
Well, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'd like to propose Denny Lynn as the next chief.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. And I've got a copy of Phil's report. If you have any questions, email me. Probably won't be prepared to answer them right now, but
I would like to say on the code enforcement report that the online forms, I submitted some issues via the online form. It's on our city website, and he did respond to them. So if you get any complaints from or comments from citizens, any citizen can go on our DaytonKY.gov or .org. .com and go under code enforcement, fill out the form, and he has responded to those. I don't know if it's because I'm a city council member, but I'm sure that he's treating everyone equally. So if you could spread that word with everybody, that's a lot. Then that way there's a record of the report also.
That's it, thank you. Don, any correspondence?
Yes, sir.
Any kind of any correspondence? Anyone have any petitions?
I have one petition from a resident in the 900 block of 6th Street, which is the 1 block east of the VFW. This citizen came to me and asked if we could explore the option of making that 1 block one-way westbound. Reason being, it's too skinny for traffic, people come off of 6th Avenue too fast, there's been multiple vehicles hit on that block. I'd like for all of council to take a look at over the next month. This would be from the VFW up to...
Main to Boone. Main to Boone.
Right. I was trying to think of the next street, but from Main to Boone, to make that a one-way westbound. As a citizen that lives on that block, and she said she has talked to other citizens on that block, and there's also kids on that block, and the two-way traffic through there, it's just coming eastbound too fast. And they would be affected by it also in that they would have to go around the block to park, but they felt that because of the speed going through there and the amount of traffic. So if everybody would like to explore that over the next month or so, they may come to the next meeting and ask for that change to be made.
On 6th Street?
6th Street, the 900 block.
Anyone else have any petitions? Any unfinished business?
A little bit. Okay. I was wondering, Michael, next week, if we could get a copy of the questions before the meeting?
Yeah, you'll have them tomorrow morning, at least what I have so far.
Okay, so I appreciate that. Then also, I have a handout for all the council members and the mayor. Michael, sorry, Tom, I didn't make enough copies. But this is on the pension issue that obviously Mr. Autry brought up. This was from the State Budget Director's Office, and it basically shows the increases. Now, my understanding is that these increases are in place now, and unless the legislature does something to change them, these will be the new rates for the city of Dayton. And if you'll turn the page, it shows our police increased pension and our city workers increased pension. Then on the next page, it shows the Bellevue Dayton Fire Department increase, which we are responsible for half of. So these are increases. They are not the amount. So the increases total $250,000. $246,000, $250,000. And this is what is looking at us if the legislature does not make any changes in this session. Now, I don't know what they're going to do. Nobody does. But the reason I'm bringing this up, and of course we're all concerned about it, but the reason I'm bringing this up along with, we just talked about some things like the bump out on 6th Avenue, the sidewalk and park on Dayton Pike, the Vine Street Park, the Riverfront Commons walking trail. All of those things, we've got some skin in the game, I would assume, Michael. We have some expenses.
We have a little bit in the game for the
Each-
sidewalk and a lot in the game for Riverfront.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those expenses, along with this possible increase, has me a little bit concerned about the direction that we're heading with the city building. Now, saying that, I'm all for a new city building. I think we need one. But I want to make sure before we sign on the dotted line that we can afford to make the payments. So, I'm just bringing this to the forefront so that we all are thinking about these things as we move forward. I know we got the meeting next week and we're looking at the design companies and we're going to have some questions for them in the interview process. But I think it would be wise for us before we sign any kind of contractual agreement with these people that we look at, that we make sure that this isn't going to affect us adversely along with our other expenses. That's all I'm saying. And I think it's just prudent.
Yeah, makes good sense.
I've got I appreciate you sharing that, because I know a lot of people I don't think are aware, most of you all may be aware of it. I'm working on a budgetary proposal that it's going to show you not only this, but some of the other expenses like you mentioned. If we want to continue to do capital improvements to the community, obviously it's something that's, I think, at the forefront of all of our agendas. How this will play out and what a payment would look like based on a various level of city debt. So you all have at least a report from me. I'm going to get it verified. But
I hope if common sense prevails that some of this will be diluted and spread out over time.
please contact your legislature.
Because, well, I don't think it's any secret that our current governor would like to see consolidation of school districts and cities. I believe that's a direction that that his administration would like to see things happen. And one way to do it is to make expenditures such that you can't make your budget. So, well, that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I do, sir. With the recent changes to the park board, the overseeing of the park board funds, or the park tax, have you had a meeting yet? I saw your email reaching out to the park board. Have you had a meeting with them yet?
No, the intent was to have one sometime in January, and I have gotten a response back from one of the city members that was willing to meet.
Okay, because it's January, normally board members are reappointed, and I didn't hear of any appointments tonight. February. When you have those discussions with the park board, I think what I would like to see as a councilman, as a citizen also, is what the administration, since the administration now has pretty much full say over how the money's spent, a plan for 2018 for those funds. What improvements do you see? I know the park board had different ideas like dugouts and new field and everything. What the intentions are of administration in coordination with the park board advisory. But one of the things I really want to see bumped up the list is Sergeant Park. I know Mr. Yoder pursued a grant up there for some trail clearing. We've got 20 acres of city-owned space that is now part of the parks. It is one of the 5 parks that we have because of the ordinance that we passed, and should be maintained under that park funding. You go down there, the parking lot is full of moss. I know it's been in a little bit of a limbo over the years, but now that it is part of our park system, I'd like to see a plan for improvement on that, whether it be in coordination with the grant, volunteerism. We're wasting a lot of valuable property there that all of our citizens could enjoy.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Anyone else? Any new business? Okay. We need to go to executive session, so I'll need a motion to do that.
Make that motion.
Let's go to the reason first. I'd ask for a motion from you guys for a meeting for executive session where deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by public agency, only when the publicity would be likely to affect the value of the specific piece of property to be acquired for public use by a public agency in accordance with KRS 61.810, Section 1, subsection B. The property is the lot that we acquired from Catherine.
I had a motion from Jeff, I need a second.
I think Joe
Didn't make a second.
I'll second it then.
That's fine.
I'll second, but yeah.
Whatever you got, Don, whatever, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're in executive session. Okay.
Come out of executive session.
Got a motion to come out of executive session by Joe,
Second.
second by Jeff.
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, no ordered.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A motion by Joe to adjourn,
Second.
second by Denny. All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.